So, as I was saying, we have some special guests with us to help us prepare for the big day, just like Taylor Ingverson, Senior Art Director.
Thanks so much for joining us here. It's so exciting.
Now, Taylor, you led the art direction on the last set, Midnight Hunt. So get us caught up.
Throughout Crimson Vow, the story actually opens up with bats fluttering all over the plane, delivering awesome-looking invitations to the event of the age, Olivia Voldaren's wedding. So there will be vampires traveling from all across the plane to attend this event. The Voldarens, the Markovs, the Falcon Wraths, and the Stromkirks showing up for this.
Well, now, you said that it's Olivia's wedding, but I don't think you actually mentioned who she is that she's marrying.
Oh, yeah. So the lucky guy is none other than Edgar Markov himself. He's the progenitor of all vampires on Innistrad.
Interesting, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I would have agreed with Olivia's choice. I'd maybe go for Soren, but if she's into granddads, that's her choice, yeah. Okay, so Olivia heads up the Voldarens, and if she marries Edgar, then she's gonna be the head of 2 major vampire families within the plane. I mean, that kind of makes her the de facto queen of all of Innistrad. Pretty cool.
So how she goes about it is that Edgar has been sort of in this long slumber, locked in his coffin. So Olivia walks in, wakes him up, gives him a little blood, and pops the question.
If only it were that easy for all of us, you know?
Then she begins preparations for the big day. And since it's her big day, thought it would be appropriate if we took a peek at her card next. Olivia Crimson Bride.
Oh my God. Well, she doesn't do anything halfway, does she? What else can you tell us about the festivities? Like, is there anything about the venue we should know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at the card Voldaren Estate.
Oh my God, the silhouette is so beautiful. Blood tokens.
Token artifact blood. Pay 1 generic mana, tap, discard a card, and sacrifice this artifact to draw a card.
So earlier you brought up Soren, Edgar's grandson. So how does he play into all of this?
So as for how Soren's taking this, I think we could just take a peek at his card for how he's feeling about it. And that is Soren the Mirthless.
Yeah, Soren the Mirthless. Yeah, that about answers that. I guess he is not there for a good time.
I mean, at least he's dressed for the occasion, though, because I gotta say, I'm a big fan of how he's rocking this ruffle thing. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for catching us up. It sounds like even with these surprise guests you mentioned, Olivia's got things pretty under control. This wedding's gonna be all smooth sailing, right?
Absolutely. And I think if you want more, you're gonna have to stay tuned for the Crimson Vow web fiction coming soon.
So, Lauren, we have learned a lot about the event itself, the venue, the guest list. Is there anything that you can tell us about the cards once we start ripping open those packs?
The Disturb mechanic from Midnight Hunt, which I'm happy to say is going to be coming back in Crimson Vow.
Cool.
You can check that out here on Dorothea, Vengeful Victim.
Ooh, okay, an enchantment with Disturb is a new one to me.
The vampires may be taking center stage in this set, but we wanted to show the other monsters and creatures on Innistrad getting into the action. As for the zombies, they're coming back with a little bit of an older mechanic called Exploit, which you can see here on Overcharged Amalgam. It lets you sacrifice a creature when this creature enters the battlefield to gain some additional benefits. And talking about cutting dead weight, that brings us to Cleave, which is a new mechanic that we'll be seeing on instants and sorceries in Crimson Vow, like this one here, Dig Up.
It's crazy how you can just take out a couple words and completely change the meaning of the card. That gives it so much versatility. I mean, it's almost like a second card within the card.
Okay, so we've covered monsters. What about the humans? What are they up to in the set?
Well, after how badly things went for them for the Harvesttide Festival, they're kind of looking for some ways to build themselves back up, which you can see in the training mechanic here on Savior of Allenbach.
They do a little on-the-job learning and sometimes get an extra bonus for that. And Exile is pretty powerful in this set.
Okay, so we've looked at the set's mechanics. What about visuals? I mean, Olivia seems like the type who's pretty particular about her wardrobe, so what are we expecting from Crimson Vow's legendary vampires?
We really wanted the vampires to take center stage here, so they're getting our new Showcase Fang treatment. We can see how that looks on Olivia Crimson Bride. And that led us to a lot of curved and pointed shapes inspired by fangs, bat wings, gothic architecture. Soren might look a little bit familiar to some video game fans out there. The artist is Ayami Kojima, who is bringing her unique visual style to Magic for the first time.
That is a huge get.
There's so many fun creative flourishes that really give this that classic horror vibe.
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan of classic horror, we've got 2 last things to show you that I think you'll be pretty excited about. First off, where would the vampire set be without the progenitor of every pop culture vampire, Count Dracula himself?
No. Oh my God, what a unique take. I love it.
So for these, we went back and drew from the literary Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Even the flavor text is pulled from his original novel. It was a really fun challenge to sort of stay true to those characters written in the descriptions, but bring our own flair to sort of bring them to life or unlife.
Each card is full art and borderless. We wanted these to be exciting not just for Magic players, but for fans of the rich history of vampires and the surrounding fiction.
I mean, what a great way to pay homage to one of the stories that inspired Innistrad in the first place. Well, everyone, it looks like they've pulled out all the stops to make this a vampire wedding to remember. So previews for Innistrad Crimson Vow are starting now. Be sure to follow along. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.